One thing that is obviously needed, and a couple of people on the panel have done work thinking about this, is a very traditional demand, which is organizing the unorganized. In other words, revitalizing the workers' movement. In other words, not necessarily reforms that are pitched at the level of immediate state policy differences, but organizing more unions, thinking about how working class people might be organized today differently than in the past. But fundamentally the same challenge exists, because as working class organizations, unions have declined, there has been less and less social power available for resistance, but even for constraining the kinds of things that can go on in the economy, and therefore undermining the ability to engage in further reforms and even like legal reforms. So I think that one thing that came up, that certainly Brian, for instance, has done work on this. We've been reading about it in Platypus, and a question that came up from the audience in terms of changes in the workforce and changes in work patterns over the past 40 years. I think it's a chicken or egg paradox, meaning that on the one hand there's flexible work regimes. On the other hand, I think that that's been made possible by the fact that there's been a decline in the workers' movement. In other words, I think that some of that would have to be reversed and not merely sort of hypostasized as the new form of capital, but rather the new form of capital needs to be understood as the result of the decimation of the workers' movement.